Hello and welcome. I am Pranay Upadhyaya and you are watching World Today. We are starting this bulletin with the breaking news, which is coming from the United States. President Donald Trump meets Philippines President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. at the White House. This is the first meeting of an ASEAN leader with President Donald Trump. Trump says he will soon meet President Xi Jinping of China. He was invited by President Xi Jinping. This is what President Donald Trump has claimed. And on the other side, President Marcos of Philippines has said that we do not have to balance between United States and China. We have an independent policy. United States is our strongest partner. This is what Ferdinand Marcos Jr. of Philippines have said, and we have to maintain the relationship. This is what the Filipino president visiting United States has said. But before meeting President Donald Trump, Philippines president met with the US Secretary of State Marco Rubio and US Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, because this visit comes at a time when Philippines is facing concern over China's expansionist policies in Indo-Pacific region, especially in the South China region. And we are concerned about defense of our territory. This is what the Filipino president has said on the US soil while meeting with the US president. Look at what President Donald Trump has to say during this meeting.
Well, we have a lot of meetings possible. President Xi has invited me to China, and we'll probably be doing that in the not too distant future, a little bit out, but not too distant. And I've been invited by a lot of people, and we'll make those decisions pretty soon. And I don't mind if he gets along with China, because we're getting along with China very well. We have a very good relationship. In fact, the magnets, which is a little complex piece of material, but the magnets are coming out, very well. They're sending them in record numbers. We're getting along with China very well, and I don't mind if the president dealt with China. If that's meant, because I think he has to do what's right for his country. I've always said, make the Philippines great again. Do whatever you need to do, but you're dealing with China wouldn't bother me at all.
No, well, now it is something that we have to do in any case.
Yeah.
And certainly, as you say, we are chairing ASEAN for 2026. There is no need, in a sense, to balance, as you characterize as, to balance our relationship between the United States and China, simply because our foreign policy is an independent one, and we are essentially concerned with the defense of our territory and the exercise of our sovereign rights. Now, whether we do this not alone, we need to do this with our partners. And again, our strongest partner has always been the United States. But of course, we are trying to form coalitions and multilateral relations so that those like-minded nations who share the same values as we do, who hew to international law, most specifically the UNCLOS, present that position very clearly to anyone who has intentions of unilaterally changing the world order, and that is how we are guided.
And now let's move on to another story involving Prime Minister Narendra Modi's foreign visit, because Prime Minister Narendra Modi is set to embark on a two-nation tour tomorrow on 23rd of July. And India is set to ink a landmark free trade agreement with the United Kingdom during Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to London on July 24th, accompanied by Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is visiting United Kingdom, and this FTA is likely to boost bilateral trade between both the countries up to $120 billion by 2030 and aims to eliminate duties on key exports and reduce import tariffs. This is an important achievement for India at a time when President Donald Trump and his tariff threats are risking global business. The negotiations were concluded on May 6th. Prime Minister Narendra Modi embarks on a two-nation tour to the United Kingdom and Maldives from July 23rd to July 26th. Earlier in June, Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal had gone to United Kingdom on a two-day visit to lay the ground for the signing of this free trade agreement. This FTA is likely to benefit both goods and services sectors, helping Indian manufacturers, especially gems, jewelry, textile, shoes, engineering goods, and even toys will get greater access in UK market. Indian professionals will also get an exemption from the double taxation. During his fourth UK visit, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will also call on King Charles III. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will also be on a state visit to Maldives in this two-nation tour, and he will also be the guest of honor at the 60th anniversary celebrations of independence of Maldives on 26th of July. So, to get more details on Prime Minister Narendra Modi's UK visit, let us cut across to Lavina Chandan from London. Welcome, Lavina, and help our viewers to understand what is there in Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to London this time. This is his fourth visit to UK. What is there in it? Tell us more about his program there in London.
Thank you. Yes, of course, Pranay. This is his fourth visit, as you said, a very brief one, a very short one, but a very significant one indeed. 4 years it has taken for FTA to reach where it is. It is that which everybody is looking forward to, the signing of the dotted line of FTA that will take the trade of the two countries, between the two countries, to almost double by 2030, as you very rightly mentioned. So in terms of his itinerary, he's going to be arriving tomorrow evening, late evening, around 7:45 p.m. here in the UK, in London Stansted. And after that, he heads straight off to his hotel. And after that, the bilateral start the next day afternoon. Apart from signing the FTA, actually, there are a few very significant things that Prime Minister is expected to raise with his counterpart, Prime Minister Keir Starmer. One, of course, is the ongoing issue that has created a lot of difficulty, is that of Khalistanis who have created so much of difficulty for the two countries, and basically to also say that it is a difficult moment not to be having a hold on them for this country as well, because after all, everything, all the unrest happens here. And then another significant thing is bringing up the extradition of Lalit Modi, Vijay Mallya, and Nirav Modi as well. So apart from these things, there are the usual talks that will happen on terrorism and having a relationship on that. So there are many other agendas, but these are top three things that he's possibly going to raise with the counterpart, Keir Starmer, Prime Minister Keir Starmer, here in the bilateral meeting.
Stay on with us. I'm also being joined by Karishma Asudani, my colleague from Business Today. Karishma, you have been covering India's economy closely. With soon to be signed India-UK FTA, both countries are trying to double the bilateral trade by $120 billion, a very ambitious target. What kind of impact do you think this deal will have on Indian industries and different sectors, especially both in goods and services?
You know, if I keep aside the numbers, because you've listed them, Lavina has also spoken about them, I think currently it is more about the sentiment, and not just between India and the UK, but the fact that this has been a deal that was on the hook for last 3 years, and with many Diwali deadlines passing by, it has finally made to the cut. It is the sentiment that is going to matter more amidst this issue of global trade that has been going on, especially with the tariff situation coming in. Now, talking about where the benefit actually lies, this is going to be in terms of the access. The access is going to be immense when it comes to certain labor-intensive sectors, especially for India, which exports maximum of leather and clothing and jewelry to United Kingdom, and from United Kingdom coming in a lot of other goods and services, especially pertaining to that of alcoholic beverages. Now, a tariff reduction of between 90 to 95%, while the fine print is yet to come out, the highlights say that about close to 90% of rebate is expected. It's going to be massive in order to get the sectors. And
Karishma, please stay with us. I want to go to Lavina. Lavina, do we have details about who is going to sign this deal? Because Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be there, and he will also be accompanied by Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal. But do we have details, and will there be a formal ceremony for the signing of this big achievement?
It is expected that the Prime Minister should sign it, but we do not have details, exact details on who is going to sign these details. There is a press conference expected. Now, who is going to be in the press conference? We have not been given these details. I think everything is being kept very close to the chest, primarily because this deal has gone through many ups and downs, and one just wants to have the celebratory moment rather than anticipatory moment that it has gone through for the past 4 years. So I guess we do not know as yet, but we should get to know more details by tomorrow. But there definitely is, the buzz is quite there that this deal is finally going to be signed. But the Commerce Minister is here, and he is meeting his counterpart.
Yes, obviously he played a very important
well.
role, Lavina, in the formalizing of this deal. But Karishma, I want to ask you about Prime Minister Narendra Modi's remark on 6th of May when he had a phone call with his British counterpart, Keir Starmer, and that call was released by 10 Downing Street as well, where they called the historic milestone this free trade agreement. From what you have seen, and what are the standout tariff cuts or the market access wins in this agreement, and how could they shake up things for Indian economy?
Well, currently, we need to understand that both UK and India have been as the fourth and the fifth largest economies in the country. And this deal was important not just to push up the ladder in terms of the trade pact, but also for both the economies to grow. And also, the relationship has not just been with the current minister, Starmer, but also with how the previous minister, that is Rishi Sunak, was significantly involved in these discussions, and the fact that he has a diasporic sentiment attached to India. The conversations were always significantly focused on. Now, if I'm going to keep aside the sectors aside, then what needs to be focused on is, along with the FTA, it is the Social Security Agreement or the Double Contribution Convention, which is the DCC, that will be a focus of this FTA. And ideally, this is what is going to bring the employees and employers of both the countries at peace. What is also being looked forward to is some kind of...
Definitely, Karishma, this is going to be a very significant development as part of the FTA, that the professionals will get benefited out of it. Thank you very much, Karishma, and Lavina, to you as well. And keep tracking this big story. We will keep tracking this story on World Today and also on India Today. But let's move on to another big story, because Iranian Foreign Minister Syed Abbas Araghchi has said that Tehran cannot give up the uranium enrichment program, which was severely damaged by the waves of US and Israeli airstrike last month. Iran, however, said that it is open to talks with the United States. Let's have a look on this report on Iran's new nuclear strategy.
After President Trump hailed B-2 bombers for completely obliterating Iranian nuclear sites, and the Pentagon claimed a 1 to 2 year setback, Iran insists its uranium enrichment will surge on. Tehran admits a temporary pause, but vows long-term enrichment is a matter of national pride. Foreign Minister Araghchi says Iran remains open to talks, yet no direct US negotiations are planned. This Friday, Iranian envoy meets Britain, France and Germany in Istanbul, under threat of UN sanctions by August's end if enrichment limits aren't agreed. Miss the deadline and Iran faces crippled economic penalties. Renewed sanctions are meant to squeeze Tehran back to the table and force cooperation with the IAEA after Iran's parliament suspended ties with the UN nuclear watchdog. These talks mark the first nuclear dialogue since Trump tore up the 2015 JCPOA, formerly the deal that opened Iran's sites to inspection in exchange for lifted sanctions. With pride on the line and sanctions looming, the world waits. Will diplomacy prevail, or will Iran's enrichment resolve break the West's will? With Mahashweta Lala, Bureau Report, India Today.
From Iran-US tension, now let's move on to the domestic front for President Donald Trump, because President Donald Trump has escalated his feud with Wall Street Journal. officially barring the newspaper reporter for joining the presidential press pool on his Scotland visit. The White House cites Wall Street Journal's fake and defamatory conduct after the paper published a 2003 birthday letter allegedly from Trump to Jeffrey Epstein. Trump denies ever writing it and has slapped Wall Street Journal and Rupert Murdoch, its owner, with a $10 billion lawsuit. Originally set to travel aboard Air Force One from July 25th to 29th, with stops in Aberdeen and Turnberry, Wall Street Journal reporter will now be watching from afar as Trump jets off for his ancestral land of Scotland. This is the second outlet frozen from press pool after Associated Press was punished for refusing to call Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America, which President Donald Trump has insisted, and punished Associated Press for not obeying him. Meanwhile, President Donald Trump's base is clamoring for full release of the Epstein files. A joint Department of Justice and FBI memos has stated that there is no Jeffrey Epstein client list and that the Epstein's death was ruled as a suicide. From defamation suits to press crackdown, the Trump Wall Street Journal showdown is rewriting the rules of White House access. Just when the world thought travel to the United States couldn't get more complicated, here comes another roadblock. In a move that's raising eyebrows globally, the Trump administration is pushing for a brand new visa integrity fee. If cleared, this could make visiting the United States significantly more expensive for tourists, students, and business travelers alike. So what is this fee is all about? How much will it cost? And why is it being introduced? Here is the full story.
Even as President Donald Trump demands that countries slash tariffs and trade barriers, his own administration is quietly raising the cost of coming to America. In a surprise move, the Trump administration has proposed a new visa integrity fee, a charge that would make traveling to the United States significantly more expensive. The fee is part of what Trump calls his one big beautiful bill, and it adds at least $250 to the current visa application cost. Here is what we know. The fee hasn't been implemented yet, and there is no clear timeline. It applies to all non-immigrant visa applicants, students, tourists, and business travelers alike. The amount is inflation adjustable and cannot be waived. There are few exemptions like airline crew, certain diplomats, and children under 2. Crucially, unlike application fees, this charge is only payable if the visa is approved. There is also a refund clause, but only if travelers follow the rules. To get reimbursement, you must not overstay your visa by more than 5 days. You must not take up unauthorized work. And reimbursements will only happen after the visa expires. For Indian travelers, the cost increase is considerable. A B1, B2 visitor visa could now cost over 40,000 rupees, up from 15,800 rupees. Students' visa could rise from 46,600 to more than 68,000 rupees. The Trump administration expects to rake in $29 billion over the next decade. But travel experts warn the cost could be far higher. The World Travel and Tourism Council is already predicting a 8.2% drop in international visitors this year and says the new fee could make things worse. Bureau Report, Business Today Television.
Now let's talk about China's mega plan. China has begun constructing the world's biggest hydropower project on Sangpo, which is the Chinese name for Brahmaputra River. This dam construction is raising red flags for India. The move could Beijing's control over the water flow of Brahmaputra and triggering security and environmental concerns across India and Bangladesh. Both these countries are lower riparian states for the Brahmaputra River. Here is why this dam is being called a big water bomb. Watch this report for more details on China's dam plan.
It's not missiles or tanks, but a mega dam that's setting off alarms. China has begun building the world's largest hydropower project, the Motuo Dam, just 50 kilometers from India's Arunachal border. On the Yarlung Sangpo River, called the Siang in Arunachal Pradesh, Brahmaputra in Assam, and Jamuna in Bangladesh, the dam will generate 3 times more power than the Three Gorges Dam. But here's the worry. China can now control water flow to India and Bangladesh. Divert it, delay it, or even flood it. The proposed dam can significantly disrupt agriculture and water availability to eastern states of India. The project can block the flow of silt that's essential for agriculture and will adversely impact local biodiversity. Arunachal Chief Minister Pema Khandu warns this is a water bomb. It could dry up 80% of the Siang. Experts say the dam is in a quake-prone zone. One disaster and the fallout could be massive. And China isn't bound by international river treaties. India and Bangladesh have no legal rights to demand information. Meanwhile, India is planning its own dam on the Siang River to create a buffer against Chinese-induced floods. But the message is clear: water is the new weapon. With Meenakshi, Bureau Report, India Today.
China has begun constructing the world's biggest hydropower project on Sangpo, which is the Chinese name for Brahmaputra River. This dam construction is raising red flags for India. The move could give Beijing control over the water flow of the Brahmaputra River, triggering security and environmental concerns across India and Bangladesh, because both these countries are lower riparian for Brahmaputra. And this is all in this edition of World Today. Keep watching India Today.